the Storyteller's Campfire on the Charlie Checker Show. And today our guest has been on the show quite a few times. She draws her background in sociology. She has a special interest in how the family as a social institution shapes attitudes, motivations, and goals of young people. Her hope is that readers of all ages will be encouraged and entertained by the main characters in her novels as they learn to define themselves, their relationships, set personal boundaries, and triumph over limitations and obstacles. She enjoys portraying complicated family dynamics and the catalysts that launch teenagers into adulthood. Now, I really enjoyed her first book, as many of her fans did. First in the series, Olivia on the Brink, and it's about a young lady whose father is pretty critical of her and belittles any ambition she has ever been interested in. Unfortunately, a neglectful mother. And these are probably the reasons why she has a lack of direction and lots of anxiety. But she has a big heart for community service, and she's a model student. Cue in the new guy at school, who becomes Olivia's fabulous distraction. Not only is he swoon-worthy, he is also a respectful and thoughtful young man who can play the guitar. How romantic. Cameron encourages Olivia and accepts her for who she is, as do all her tight circle of friends. Layla, the fashionista, Kate, the photographer, and the ever-popular Josh, and last but not least, let's not forget Olivia's mentor and boss, Mrs. K, who offers guidance and looks out for Olivia. But on today's show, we're talking about book 2 in the series, Olivia Finding Her Way. So before we introduce our guest and talk about the book, let us take a short commercial break.
Millions of young people will enter the workforce this summer, many for the first time. Join OSHA and construction professionals nationwide to help build a safe work foundation. OSHA's Teen Summer Job Safety Campaign helps teens learn good safety habits at the beginning of their careers and stay safe and healthy on the job. For more information, visit OSHA.gov or call 800-321-OSHA.
A message from the U.S. Department of Labor.
Welcome back to the Charlie Checker Show in progress. Our guest today is the author of Olivia on the Brink and Olivia Finding Her Way. Let's welcome Tessa Palmeri. Hello, Tessa. It's been great to have you on the show again.
Thank you so much, Charlie. I'm glad to be here.
It's been a while, so our listeners really want to know what you've been up to.
Well, I've been finalizing book 3 of the Olivia series, which is titled Olivia All In. It's available for pre-order on Amazon, and I have a late August release date in mind for it. This third installment picks up right where the second book left off and continues with the story of Olivia's coming of age, along with the storylines of her friends and family. Meanwhile, I've started on book 4, which is going to be called Olivia Branching Out.
Well, you've been really busy.
Yes.
So our listeners and I really want to know, how is Olivia going to navigate the uncertainty of college life with a boyfriend and new friends and the new environment?
Actually, not so well at first.
Oh.
Coming from a small town and being sheltered by her overbearing parents, she's a little naive about the world, and there's a lot for her to learn. And she struggles with embracing the college culture, whether it's dealing with difficult professors, dorm life, missing the boat on joining organizations that would have given her opportunities to get to know people. So she finds herself floundering a bit.
Wow. Well, I have read some of that, and I can attest to that. I think college life is really hard to adjust to, especially in her circumstances. But we do have a real treat for our listeners today. Tessa is going to honor us with a reading of a portion of the book for us right after this short commercial break.
Do you see that doggy in the shelter?
Hi, I'm Buddy, the adorable puppy you adopted from the Humane Society. Meow. I'm Whiskers, a fluffy kitty, just waiting for someone to love me.
When you adopt a pet, we hope your new furry friend will become a cherished member of your family. And as Buddy and Whiskers will tell you, the key to success is following the rules to love by.
Woof, that's right. Please give me food, water, and exercise every day. To stay healthy, I need the same kind of things you need. Talk to me. I like hearing your voice. You're my best friend. Please don't stay mad at me or lock me up as punishment. Remember, I'm probably going to live 10 to 15 years, so take care of me when I get old. One day you'll need someone to take care of you, too.
A message from the Montgomery County Humane Society. Visit www.mchumane.org for the complete rules to love by.
He will be your best friend for life.
Welcome back to Storytellers Campfire on the Charlie Checker Show in progress. And if you are tuning in, you're just in time to hear the author, Tessa Palmeri, honoring us with a reading of Olivia Finding Her Way. Our listeners await. Tessa.
Thank you. Chapter 1, titled, I'm Outta Here. Peering through my bedroom window, the sight of Cameron's blue truck coming up the driveway made me giddier than I already was. I did a happy dance and grabbed the last of my things before flying down the stairs and out the front door to greet him. Moving day had finally arrived. My boyfriend, Cameron McLean, and I were leaving the small town of Leeville, Texas, and we were headed to New Haven University. The bed of his truck was loaded with suitcases, a few boxes, and his guitar case. He pulled up next to my car and bounded up the front porch every bit as excited as I was. Beaming his gorgeous smile at me, he said, "This is it, Olivia, the day we've been waiting for." My feet left the ground a couple of inches as he spun me around, making my long brown hair fan out around us. "Is it really happening? Pinch me to make sure I'm not dreaming," I said. He distracted me with a kiss as he squeezed my butt. "Cameron!" "Well, you asked for it." Yes, I had, and my mom and sister Emma had seen him do it, but I was too happy to be embarrassed. They had come outside to see us off. Emma smiled, but my mom looked away as if she hadn't noticed. My dad wasn't there because he'd left for work already. We had said our goodbyes the night before. It had been a nice father-daughter moment, at least at first it had been. And then he ruined it with a crappy comment about my plans for pursuing a liberal arts degree. I hadn't decided on a major yet, but I was leaning towards something in social and behavioral sciences. Since none of that was math-related, he didn't approve. He was an engineer, along with other things such as opinionated, judgmental, and critical. He looked down his nose at the whole idea of a liberal arts education. I hugged my sister and said, "Bye, Emma, I'll miss you." There was a tug at my heart for how much I was going to miss her, especially because we'd gotten closer over the summer. She had turned 14 a few weeks ago. It was unfair that just as she was reaching an age at which she was more fun to hang out with, I was leaving. That morning, she wasn't exactly pouting, but she wasn't her usual feisty self either. She'd recently expressed her dread at becoming the only child left at home. "I'll miss you too," she murmured and wiped a tear from her eye. Her long, dirty blonde hair fell forward, covering her face, and she said, "You didn't see that." "See what?" I gave her shoulder a gentle shove and turned to my mom. She and I weren't close. I didn't have the same emotions about telling her goodbye that I had with Emma. "I'll see you later, Mom," I said, and we hugged briefly. "Be careful on the road," she instructed and looked at Cameron. "Watch out for each other, okay?" She seemed uncomfortable, which was how I felt too. "We will, Mrs. Miller," Cameron assured her and got into his truck. "And, call home if you need anything. Don't be a stranger," she added with a self-conscious laugh. "I won't," I said, getting behind the wheel of my car. Cameron started up his engine, pulled through the circular driveway, and I followed him. Driving away, I waved at my sister and Mom, relieved to be done with that awkwardness. I couldn't wait to get away from home. Well, away from my parents, anyway. While sitting at a traffic light, the last one before leaving my hometown, the tassel that was hanging on my rearview mirror caught my eye. It was from my high school graduation cap. The morning sun glinted off of the shiny gold-colored charm with the number 1991 on it. I decided it was time to take it off and stashed it in the glove compartment. That chapter of my life was over. Cameron and I stayed together on the highway for the first 2 hours, but I lost sight of him when we still had about 30 minutes to go. I was hungry and wanted to get out and stretch, so I stopped at Susie's Southern Cooking. I was betting that Cameron would think to stop there too, and I was right. A few minutes later, he pulled into the parking lot. "How did you know I would stop here?" I asked. I had a feeling. There was a sparkle in his expressive brown eyes. We shared a knowing look, and a rush of the warm fuzzies made me throw my arms around his neck and kiss him. That parking lot was where we'd been standing the first time we told each other, I love you. Pretending to be nervous the way he'd been that day, he stammered, Olivia, there's something I've been thinking about that I want to say. Wait, let me guess, I interrupted. You've decided to become a bull rider. He chuckled. No, that's not it. You're actually a wizard and you've cast a spell on me. Nope, he laughed harder. Oh, I know. You're really a prince from some tiny remote island, and you're ready to claim me as your princess. We laughed together. He cradled my face in his hands, and the silliness subsided. No, nothing like that. I love you, Olivia. I love you too, Cameron. I settled into his embrace and savored the moment. From the doorway of the restaurant, we heard a sweet southern voice ask, Are y'all coming in or what? A waitress was standing there watching us with a smile. We laughed and headed for the door, hand in hand. I pulled up in front of Bellamy Hall, my new home for the next 9 months, and the long-awaited adventure began. Everything happened in a whirlwind, checking in, finding the right dorm room, and hauling stuff into the building amidst hundreds of other people trying to do the same thing. The students, parents, and younger siblings who had tagged along were being directed and helped by dozens of campus staff and student volunteers. You could tell who they were by the blue and black New Haven University T-shirts they were wearing, emblazoned with the Hawks mascot. The air was thick with anticipation and expectancy. My mind had to work overtime to make order of the barely controlled chaos. Standing in the checkout line, I overheard a heated conversation between a mother and daughter. The girl must have criticized her mother for saying something that embarrassed her, and the mom hissed, Well, maybe you should have written out a script for me so I'd know what's okay to say and what's not. Ouch. Thank God my parents hadn't shown any interest in coming with me today. I was assigned to room 107 on the west side, the women's wing, and Cameron was on the east side, in room 328. He helped me unload my car first. In making trips back and forth from my room, I saw several girls checking him out. It made me pause and take a closer look at him, as though I were seeing him for the first time. I knew he was good-looking, of course. I just hadn't taken recent stock of how much hotter he'd gotten since we'd met, much less how other girls would see him. He had a great tan and had bulked up over the summer from lifting weights and playing basketball. His biceps were bulging against the sleeves of his T-shirt, and the muscles of his chest and back were nicely sculpted. The length of his brown hair was just right, not too long, but not too short, and stylishly cut. When he smiled, which he was doing a lot, it showed off his straight white teeth and adorable dimples. A flutter of panic threatened to turn me into one of those clingy, possessive girlfriends who has to make sure all the girls know her guy is taken. I fought the urge to make a public display of affection to mark my territory. I stayed with Cameron's truck, and he made his first trip up to his room. He returned, and his roommate, whom we'd never met, was with him. His name was Gary. He was wearing a Donkey Kong T-shirt and athletic shorts. He was nice, but I picked up on his shyness right away, because making eye contact didn't come easy for him. Having unloaded everything, Cameron and I moved our vehicles to the parking lot and walked toward the building together. So, he said, stopping to face me and took my hand. So, I copied him. We exchanged awkward smiles. It was a defining moment for us. Would we try to hang out together all the time, or would we be comfortable going our separate ways? We had both started talking at the same time and laughed. What the heck was our problem? Actually, I knew what mine was, and maybe it was his too. Having indefinite plans made me nervous. Would we meet up later at a certain time and place? What were each of our expectations for how much time we'd spend together? It wasn't something we'd ever talked about. How about we go unpack and then meet at the dining hall at about 12 o'clock, I suggested. That's a good idea. He nodded, relaxing some. I kissed him and he said, see you later. Great. Now I'm analyzing every move, looking for hidden meaning. For example, what did it mean that I kissed him first? Would he have kissed me goodbye if I hadn't done it? These concerns were unfamiliar to me. We had enjoyed a strong 8-month relationship, but in new surroundings, around new people, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to act.
I love that Olivia does the happy dance. I do it myself. She and Cameron are so excited about getting away from home and settling into college life, but we all know how colleges go. You get into the sororities and all that, and they do a lot of partying. How will Olivia and Cameron handle this part of college life?
For Olivia, it's not so much an issue of peer pressure, but she does find herself in a few situations that aren't good. And it's more a matter of her not knowing what she stands for and falling into self-pity that leads to poor choices. Her roommate will turn out to be part of the problem.
So it's not all smooth sailing. Olivia, in the book as I've read, is not going to be making the best choices. What does Cameron have to say about the choices she's going to be making?
Well, Cameron's been able to adjust to college life just fine, and even though he tries to be supportive and understanding of Olivia's struggles, he grows impatient with her. He's kind of a saint as he sees her going through all this and tries to be helpful, but she seems just determined to flounder. Their relationship is tested, and Olivia has a lot to overcome. Fortunately, Mrs. K, her mentor, helps her find her way to becoming a stronger and happier person.
Oh, well, we're glad to hear that. And I know that we don't want to spoil the best part for our listeners, so they'll just have to read it for themselves. Now I want to share with our listeners the 5-star reviews I found out on Goodreads about Olivia Finding Her Way. So let's take a short commercial break, and I'll share with them all that when we get back.
Did you know when you donate a kidney, you give the gift of life?
I had no idea you could donate an organ while you were still alive. If I'm born with 2 healthy kidneys but only need one, and I could really improve somebody else's life, why not? When I think of giving up something I don't need in exchange for a life, it's no contest. If I had another one, I'd do it again.
Visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org. Now you know.
This is Sarah Noffke, young adult author of the Vagabond Circus series. You're listening to Storyteller Campfire radio shows.
Welcome back to Storyteller's Campfire on the Charlie Checker Show in progress. And before the commercial break, I promised I would share with our listeners the raving 5-star reviews I found on Goodreads about Olivia Finding Her Way. The first one, Tessa Palmeri zeroes in on the struggle and angst of that important time just before a teen is leaving for college. Palmeri understands their language, what's important to them. She paints a vivid picture of life in America at the close of the last century with an insider's eye. High praise from Carol P. Roman. Fabiola Perez rated it was amazing. I like this book, she says. Enjoy it even more than the first one. I think this book shows more of how much grown up Olivia is and how things change for her. Having her talk to her mother, a concern about her sister, and how she talked with her dad. It was incredible. The relationship with Cameron gets better and better, and for the first time in a lot of the books I've read, got the impression that, yes, maybe it's best to wait. From experience, I can tell you that it does change things in a relationship, and it can make it stronger, or it can destroy it too. It changes expectations and the kind of commitment. So I'm really happy for this new point of view about this subject. If I go back to teach at high school, I think I'll use these books for several reasons. First, for the way Olivia explains how it is to be in college and how to make good decisions. Second, for the way they carry out the relationship. And third, for the way it teaches you to stand up and be who you really are or who you really want to be. Thank you, Tessa, for this opportunity. And I hope I get to read the next chapter in Olivia's life. Wow, that was really nice. Mm-hmm. Jana also gave it 5 stars. She says, I received a free advance reading copy of this book in exchange for an honest review. Olivia Finding Her Way is the second book Olivia Miller series and chronicles Olivia's first year of college and some of the struggles that accompany young adulthood. Most of the tension and conflict in Olivia Finding Her Way centers on the complex relationships she's juggling, including the relationship with her boyfriend, her less than awesome roommate, her anger-spewing father, and a passive mother, and a few other minor characters that we will probably all recognize from our own experiences. This book is similar to the first book in that it is a snapshot of a year in Olivia's life. Rather than having a central conflict or plot line, it tells a story of many ups and downs of life and relationships over time. Some readers will probably be critical of the lack of the main focus or plot, but personally, I find the analysis of various complicated relationships quite interesting and true to life. Very good. Also, Beth Knight gave it 5 stars. What a great book. As a girl going through high school and college, the same decade as Olivia, I can relate. I love the character's growth in this book. Olivia faced some tough challenges, but was able to overcome them. I'm happy to see her mom doing so well, too. I would highly recommend this book to anyone interested in a well-written, cute, young adult book. Nice. Virginia gave it 5 stars also. This book begins with so much hope and expectations. It's about a new chapter in Olivia's life. She is a college student now and wants to fulfill a lot of things. It's about her insecurities and how she gets stronger after all new obstacles. I like to read about this college life, especially when it's so well written. I think the way this story is told is very personal. It relates me with Olivia. I can clearly imagine her troubles, how she tries to find her way through all this trouble. I was worried about her relationship with Cameron, and I wanted them to be together because they're so sweet and innocent. Their relationship is so unusual. These are 2 of my favorite couples right now. I really enjoyed this part. It was so good. I liked that Olivia could help herself through helping other people. I'm very grateful to the author to have the possibility to be in this college world because in spite of all these teenage problems, it's an awesome world. There's some very nice reviews and some very high praise for Olivia and the series. Now, our readers, Tessa, we're almost out of time, so our listeners really want to know how they can get to know you better.
Yes, of course, and thank you for the opportunity to be on the show, and thank you, listeners, for tuning in. My website is www.tessapalmeri.com, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well. My email address, palmeribooks@gmail.com, is the best way to reach me. And all comments and questions are welcome. Feel free to contact me. There's nothing I enjoy more than feedback from readers and fans. Thank you for reading those reviews. It just reminds me why I'm doing this. I have a story to tell, and I want people to know about it.
That is so awesome. Now, I also don't want to forget to credit my research reference sites, Amazon.com, Wikipedia, Smashwords, and Goodreads for the reviews. Last but not least, let's not forget our sponsors and listeners, because without them, this programming would not be possible. Now we are really out of time. This is your host, Charlie Checker, saying, sing like no one's listening and dance like no one's watching.